What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Painting Corners. I am your solo host today, Project Pat, as my co-host Chris Drew is actually in New York for the next couple days over the weekend, celebrating his mom is winning some sort of award. I forget what it is exactly, but shout out to Chris and his mom. Going to enjoy the city. He actually just texted me right before the show. He better be hitting up Danino's right now in the city. If you're looking for good pizza in New York, that is my favorite spot. Danino's in Greenwich Village, I believe it is. Just fire, thin crust, New York style pizza. My go-to is they have like a penne vodka style pizza. Phenomenal. But I'm here with you guys on a Thursday to talk a little baseball. We are officially 2 weeks into the regular season, and I feel so much better right now than I did on Monday's show. That was a brutal road trip to start the year, 3-6, 9 straight games for the Guardians. Played some good teams. I think the Angels are a lot better than people expected. Obviously, the Padres are going to be in the thick of things there in the NL West, and then the Royals are going to be, right in it with us in the AL Central race. So a tough 9-game stretch to start. It was nice to come home and face the lowly White Sox. That is for sure. It wasn't pretty, especially not Tuesday or Wednesday, but today looked really sharp. Loved what I saw from the guys, and we're back to 500. So Tribe fans, we're up. Thank God that the White Sox are the worst team in baseball, because I don't know if we win games 1 and 2 of that series if we're playing anyone but the White Sox. But we're here, painting corners. 2 weeks in, I guess I want to touch on a couple big things in this episode. One being kind of some early season struggles that we're seeing from both, my Guardians and Chris's Yankees, as well as some other stuff throughout the league. Obviously, I know we got fans of all teams here watching, so any stuff you guys want to talk about, fire it away in the comments. We'll hit whatever you guys want to talk about. But I guess I'll start with the Guardians, just because it's fresh and I just finished watching it the last few hours. A sweep for the Tribe. I guess we'll go starting with Tuesday. Crazy pitchers duel. Ben Lively, kind of looked solid. Navigated through a weak White Sox lineup, did his thing. Bullpen came in, did their job too, and the offense was a struggle. Obviously getting shut out through 8 innings, and it took an infield single from Carlos Santana and then 3 straight walks off the hands of Mike Clevenger to walk us off a 1-0 walk-off walk for Nolan Jones, securing the home opener victory. That was crazy. I think I saw a stat leading into that 7th inning when it was still 0-0. The previous 2 times that Cleveland had entered their home opener in a 0-0 tie into the 7th inning, they ended up winning those prior 2 instances 4-0. So me, being the little degenerate that I am, I sprinkled on over 3.5 total runs for the game and Guardians money line in the 7th inning for some crazy odds. Just threw $5 on it. And Nolan Jones comes up to the plate in the 9th inning, and he hammered one down the line that just went foul, and it was almost a walk-off grand slam. I thought I was going to have the craziest cash out of the season so far, as well as it would have been an insane coincidence, correlation, whatever. 3 straight 4-0 wins after being tied 0-0 in the home opener. But yeah, I was honestly, despite the fact that the Tribe, the bats obviously weren't really there Tuesday and yesterday, I was happy with their approach, and it made today, seem justified then in my thinking, because they kind of jumped out today, 6 runs. Wasn't pretty at times, but a good offensive showing for once. But Tuesday and Wednesday, they were drawing a lot of walks, which I was happy to see, especially early in the season when you're playing at home in Cleveland with this weather. I mean, it's been cold, it's been wet all week. It's not going to be a surprise to see some offenses struggle. Obviously, we saw the Yankees go through it, and I'll get into their series with Detroit a bit later, but they struggled getting the bats going there. And again, it's a lot of this. It's tough playing, up north. Even though it's April, it still feels like winter. And I'm just happy that the Guardians kind of stuck to their approach, drew plenty of walks over this series against Chicago. Honestly, I'm surprised with how good Chicago's starters looked, especially Tuesday. Shane Smith got the ball in the opener of the series, had a nasty changeup. I was talking with Chris about it yesterday when he was still in studio. Just a wicked 90-mile-an-hour changeup with a lot of movement. And that was a pitch that gave the Guardians a lot of trouble last year, especially in the playoffs. And so it was nice to kind of see them, battle and lay off some really good ones from Shane on Tuesday that led to some walks. They had guys on the bases. It felt like in almost every inning just couldn't find that clutch hit. And that's something that's been eluding them early on in the season, is that, ability to hit with runners in scoring position, something that, helped get them off to such a hot start last year. A guy like Jimenez was really hitting well with runners in scoring position. We've missed him a bit early on. But yeah, then fast forward to Wednesday, Logan Allen, he gets me frustrated at times, because I want him to attack the zone and just pound the strike zone. And he gets so nitpicky trying to hit the perfect spot with corners. And when he does that, it doesn't allow him to get deep into games. And so he went less than 5 innings yesterday, again, against a weak Chicago lineup where outside they had 1 unearned run in the first inning. I just wanted him to settle down and just keep hitters attacking by attacking the zone and put the ball in play. Let your defense do their job. Obviously, Josie he's kind of had an uncharacteristic start to the year. I think 5 errors so far this year for Jose, which is not like him. Hopefully he, fixes that. And the defense was better today for sure. But, needless to say, a somewhat decent outing from Logan Allen after that first inning yesterday. The bullpen did their thing. I was really impressed with how Paul Sewald threw the ball both Tuesday and Wednesday. 2 scoreless outings for him, which was much needed after a really rough road trip. I was ready to ship him back off to Arizona or wherever he came from, because I thought he was going to be toast for the year. Still isn't generating crazy velocity on his fastball, but he located it a lot better. And then we had the Class A meltdown again last night. This one I felt better about, only because it was more so the Class A meltdown that we saw 2 years ago. What was it, in 2023? I think Class A had 10 blown saves, which might have led the majors. But 2023. What was it? Blown saves. Why does it not have blown saves on Baseball Reference? But whatever. It was 2023 where he had a shit ton of blown saves. Let me see if I can pull up blown save leaders in 2023. I think he led the majors. Class A, 12 blown saves in 2023. Led the majors, but still led the majors in saves overall with 44 that year, and still had a 3.22 ERA. I mean, solid for a reliever, for a closer, not dynamite like we saw in previous years. I mean, that's the only year aside from right now where he's had an ERA over 3. And what we saw with him on Wednesday was kind of, to me, it was similar to what we saw in 2023, where it was weak contact. He had a leadoff single to start the inning. That was a hard hit ball, but then kind of a jam job single into right, put runners at the corners, and then started to nitpick. Obviously got himself in a bases loaded jam. I thought the 2 strikeouts that he had in the inning were phenomenal. He struck out Robert on 3 straight cutters, low and away, that were far away enough outside the zone that even if Robert made contact, he wasn't doing damage with. And then he struck out Austin Slater on what I thought was phenomenal use of dropping the slider in low and then getting him to change his eye level by throwing that heater 100 miles an hour, right at the letters, getting him to swing through it. And then I think it was Amaya, the guy who hit the ground ball that went through, seeing eye single through third, which you can't get upset with Class A for that. I mean, that was, it wasn't a hard hit ball by any means, just found its way through the infield. And Quan makes a good throw home. Mike Tauchman, obviously coming up lame, sucks if you're a White Sox fan. Sucks. You hope that he's okay. and it's not a serious injury. But oh my God, what a White Sox way to lose. I mean, you had to feel for them after losing on a walk-off walk the day before. And then for them, to lose on a walk-off hammy pole yesterday was brutal. So 2 tough losses early on for the White Sox. I'm not really concerned with Class A just yet. My biggest thing is I think it's twofold. One, he needs to, so far early in the year, he hasn't really thrown his slider a whole lot. And I know Rick Manning and Matt Underwood on the broadcast have been kind of harping on the fact that that's a pitch that, according to Carl Willis and Austin Hedges, that they want him to utilize more and to throw that slider more often. I think he's become a little gun shy. And he was receiving kind of some criticism from Guardians fans in the playoffs last year. That first blown save he had against the Tigers when Kerry Carpenter took him deep, that was off a slider. I know Stanton hit a slider deep in that game, that crazy game 3 after Judge hit the game tying homer. I know the Stanton homer was off a slider. And you had people, saying, Guardians fans going, you have a 100-mile-an-hour cutter, like throw the cutter. Don't speed their bats up by throwing the off speed. And now it's gotten to the point where I think hitters are really keying in on that cutter, especially in the, outer half of the zone for a righty, inner half to a lefty. I want to see him really attack the inner third of the plate, especially to right-handed hitters. I mean, you throw an 100-mile-an-hour cutter that starts at a guy's hands and then, sneaks backdoor in over the zone to a righty. Like, that's the part of the zone that he has to key in on. And I think that'll solve a lot of his issues. Right now, it seems like he's constantly going low and away, low and away, low and away. And these guys are professional hitters. They'll learn to go the other way with a pitch. I don't care how fast you throw. If you only have to worry about one half of the strike zone, you can go the other way. And so I think that's where Clase A's main issue is. And I think that's the one thing that he has to work on. And he did such a good job of it last year, especially in the beginning of the year, of really pounding the inner third of the plate. And so I hope he gets back to that because we need him to figure it out. Obviously, the bullpen, being a plethora of riches for us, especially the last 2 years, I've seen people already wondering if we should turn to Cade Smith for the 9th. Hunter Gaddis has looked really good so far this year. Obviously, there's Herron, there's Sewald. Sewald has closing experience, although I don't want him anywhere near the 9th inning right now until he shows me he can, put it together against a team that's not named the Chicago White Sox. But you got to imagine Stephen Vogt has a pretty long leash with Clase A. For me, I'm not panicking just yet. I think last night was, just some poor luck. He made good pitches. They put the bat on the ball and found holes where they needed to in the defense. And luckily for the Guardians, Tauchman pulled his hammy and we came away with the win. But that being said, today was a night. It was nice to have a stress-free game as a Cleveland fan, especially against the White Sox, where I came into this series thinking, all right, let's make it a stress-free series and sweep them. Now we got the sweep. It wasn't really stress-free, but they looked the part today. Gavin Williams had a rough first inning. Control's been an issue with him so far this year and kind of was last year, where I want to see him really attack the zone a little more. He's got such electric stuff. And when he does that, it'll allow him to pitch later in the games. Only went 5 innings today. But really, really looked good. I think he had, 8 strikeouts. What was it? Oh, that's not right. Or 7 strikeouts. I thought he had 8. 7 Ks through 5 innings for Gavin. Thought the fastball had a lot of good life on it. His off speeds were working well. He got a lot of, chases out of the zone on that sweeper and threw that curveball a decent bit today that he hasn't really thrown a whole lot early on in this year. I was happy to see him do that today, but only the 3 hits allowed in 5 innings, the 2 walks, which I think both came in the first inning, and really found a zone from innings 3 through 5. I think he had 45 pitches through 2 innings, and then kind of was able to get into a groove to finish out 3 strong. And went 5, threw the ball really well. Jacob Junis, 2 scoreless innings out of the pen. He's been a nice addition so far this year, kind of the unsung hero of the bullpen early on. He's a guy that's going to take over that Pedro Avila role from last year, the innings eater, a guy that can come in for an out to get out of a jam. He can pitch 2 innings like he did today. It's nice to have that kind of versatility in the pen, especially in a day that, I mean, we had Sewald throw back-to-back days, Clase through back-to-back days, Gaddis through back-to-back days. And then the offense got off, to a big enough lead where we didn't have to use Herron or Cade Smith, as well. Those other 3 guys that probably weren't available today this early on in the season for a 3rd straight day. So Junis did his job, 2 scoreless innings. And then Joey Cantillo, he's kind of had an up and down start to the year out of the pen, but 2 scoreless from him, 4 Ks, which was nice. And I thought it was a great job overall by the pitching staff today, shutting down the White Sox after they put up 1 in the 1st inning. And I mean, really, this White Sox lineup, outside of maybe 3 guys, there's not much to be afraid of. But I thought Andrew Vaughn, he's kind of been a thorn in the Indian side the past few years. I thought they did a good job of attacking him today, as well as Austin Slater, who was kind of swinging the bat well. And no Robert in the lineup today, so they didn't have to worry about him. But outside of those 3 guys, man, this White Sox team doesn't have much thump in that lineup. So, I mean, you saw it, a shutout Tuesday, 2 runs allowed yesterday and 1 run today. So I think that's some good positive momentum for the pitching rotation and the bullpen. And hopefully they can carry that into this weekend series versus the Royals. Some offensive notes today. Stephen Kwan, I mean, I saw someone tweet the three certains in life are death, taxes, and Stephen Kwan 4-hit games, man. He leads the majors over the last, I believe it's 2 or 3 seasons now in 4-hit games. He had another one today, led the game off with a single, had a nice 2-run home run, put a good swing on an inside fastball that, was one of the points of emphasis for Kwan to generate some more pop heading into last year. And he looked good today, taking a, heater inside out of the yard. And then a couple more singles, including a opposite field RBI single with the bases loaded. And then a bunt single that also drove in a run. Just all around, he can do it all. It's so fun to watch him at the plate. He has such a good feel for the zone, such quick hands. He's not going to get beat very often. And it's just fun to watch him when he's in his zone like this. This whole series, I thought he's put together competitive at-bats, drawing his walks like he normally does early on in the series. And today he was rewarded 4 hits, 4 ribbies, 2 runs scored. Just a great day from him. Manzardo absolutely destroyed. I think it was a 400-foot home run down the right field line to get the offense going early. 2-run bomb. It was nice to see him continue to hit the ball well. I mean, all 4 of his home runs this year have been no doubters. I hope he continues this the whole year because he's on pace to hit 30, 35 home runs. And I think that's so crucial, especially, losing Josh Naylor, and you were wondering how you were going to, make up for his lost production in the lineup. And I think Manzardo's filled that role, phenomenally so far in this season. I'd like to see him hit 3rd. I know Santana's gotten off to a good start with the home run yesterday. And I think at least heading into today, 286 average, which is way above his career 233 average in March and April. I think I would like to see Manzardo go up to 3rd in the order. I think it'll provide Josie with a little more protection. I think hitters right now are probably a little more scared, or opposing pitchers right now are a little more scared of Manzardo than they are Santana. I think Manzardo's proven that he can hit for power against both lefty and righties, and he's shown a good eye at the plate, good discipline. And not that Santana hasn't, but I think that Manzardo, being younger, a little more quicker, and showing that little more raw power, I think would do him some good, moving him up to 3, and maybe dropping Santana to 4. That's my one critique early on with how Vogt has deployed the top half of the lineup. As for the rest of the lineup, I thought Rocchio had an outstanding day, and that was much needed for him. People were, Cleveland fans were ready to, mail it in on Rocchio for the season after Tuesday's game. I think he struck out a couple times, didn't have a hit, had the off day yesterday, which I think definitely helped clear his mind a little bit. And then, oh my God, first at bat, ropes a double down the right field line. ended up coming home on, I think that was the Quan home run. Second at bat, bases loaded, ropes a line drive right at the second baseman for a line out. But again, that's you got to live with that. And he's had some unfortunate luck early on in the season, but it was great to see, to see him at least, make some hard contact with runners on, and then got a second hit later in the game. I thought he had a great day at the plate. I liked what I saw from John Kenzie and Nolan Jones. Each picked up a hit today. I'm so out on Lane Thomas right now. And I know we can have these overreactions 12 games into the season, but it's just Lane wasn't putting together competitive at bats, and he was playing every day, which was, limiting the at bats for both John Kenzie and Nolan Jones as they platooned in right field. These last 2 days, obviously Nolan Jones he's day to day with a wrist contusion after getting hit on Tuesday. These last 2 games with Nolan Jones in center and John Kenzie in right, I think is huge and really lengthens this lineup a little bit. John Kenzie had 2 hits yesterday, had another hit today. He's just hitting the ball really hard. As soon as he gets some flight under that ball, he's pounding stuff into the ground right now and hitting some line drives and hard grounders. I want to see him get the ball in the air, and we're going to see some moon shots like we did from him last year. And then Nolan Jones, he's shown plenty of patience at the plate. He's kind of been dealt some unluckiness early on in the season with some hard hit balls that have turned into outs. I know his 2 outs on Tuesday's game when he had the walk-off walk. He was 0 for 2. His 2 outs both came off the bat at over 100 miles an hour. So I think getting these 2 guys consistent ABs. Listen, if Lane needs to go on the 10-day or 15-day IL, whatever it is now, I'm okay with it because I like these 2 back-to-back in the lineup. I think it really lengthens it. I think especially as the weather warms, I think you're going to see both these guys start to lift the ball and start to do damage. And I hate that I'm out on Lane so quickly, but he just wasn't showing any sort of productive at-bats. And I hope he can figure it out when he does get back in the lineup and get healthy. But if Jones and John Kenzie keep swinging the way they are right now, I think it's going to be hard for Vogt to mess around with his outfield. I know Nolan Jones hasn't played a ton of center field, and he wasn't really challenged in this series, but he's got a good arm. As long as it's not a crazy drop-off defensively, could be something of note, potentially a new center field alert for the Guardians moving forward. But there's my instant reaction to the sweep of the lowly Chicago White Sox. And now I look forward to this weekend. You bring in the Royals, just a solid team, kind of off to, not really I guess a slow start. I mean, really the division as a whole has gone off to a slow start, but the Royals are 6-6, same as the Guardians. I think it should be a good series. I'm curious to see if any of the turmoil from how the opening weekend series ended will carry over into this weekend. Obviously, Class A drilling Jonathan India with the cutter up and in, drilling him in the helmet. It'll be curious to see if Kansas City decides to retaliate. I'll be going up there on Saturday. Going to catch my first Guardians game of the season in person, so I'm excited for that. It seems like it shouldn't be too cold. I think high 40s, low 50s this weekend. So looking forward to that. But let's see. I mean, I know we got a couple of our guys in here. Yeah, Ben, the Cubs have the Rangers number. Honestly, the Cubs are a weird team because I was so down on them heading into this season. And not really for any, I mean, I guess the real particular reason was that I wasn't sure how their lineup would hold. Obviously they made the big splash getting Kyle Tucker. And I just wasn't sure if there was enough protection around him in that lineup for them to do consistent damage. But I mean, shit, they're doing damage all over. I mean, Tucker obviously leading the way, over 1,100 OPS, 5 homers on the year. Seiya Suzuki, 4 bombs on the year. His OPS at 970. Dansby Swanson, 4 bombs from him. Is he finally coming into his own offensively? Would be huge for them. Michael Busch with over 800 OPS. I have Pete Crow Armstrong on my fantasy team, and I need him to get on base a little more often so that he can generate me some more steals. But yeah, I mean, that was a tough series for the Rangers, obviously, dropping, what was it, 2 out of 3. They did win yesterday. Yeah, Corey Seager with a big day yesterday for you guys. I actually had Shota Imanaga strikeouts, which he lost by 2, but Seager got to him early. But yeah, no, honestly, the Cubs are an interesting team now, sitting atop the NL Central. It's a weak division, that's for sure. But I was very high on the Reds coming into this year, and it seems like I shouldn't have been. They're in last place right now. But Tito's clubs normally get off to slow starts, so I'm kind of not surprised there. Dealing with that for years as a Guardians fan, but something to monitor. Who do the Rangers have this weekend, Ben? Because that's a series I want to pay attention to because I have Kumar Rocker on my fantasy team. Ooh, in Seattle. That should be that's a fun series. Who is pitching for you guys? Because that should be a really fun series. I'm really high on Seattle's pitching staff overall, and Texas this year. I mean, they've got the young guys to kind of battle them. So let's see. We've got tomorrow Jacob deGrom versus Bryce Miller. Saturday is Kumar Rocker, my guy for fantasy, versus Brian Wu. That's going to be a phenomenal matchup. And then Sunday, we've got Nathan Eovaldi and Logan Gilbert. Man, that's a fun matchup. All 3 of those games should be good. Obviously, got to give the edge to Texas tomorrow with DeGrom going against Bryce Miller. Bryce Miller hasn't looked too hot early on in the season with a 5.73 ERA. But Saturday and Sunday, those are going to be 2 games I'm going to be kind of going to be locked into. Kumar Rocker needs to prove that last outing wasn't a fluke, and hopefully can generate some more swing and miss because I want to keep him on my roster in fantasy. And my pitching has been abysmal so far in this one league I'm in. What's annoying is that it's a cumulative scoring league. So you roster 6 pitchers and it's cumulative scoring per category for the season. And so the categories are win, whip, ERA, wins, whip, ERA, strikeouts, and saves. So what I've typically done in the past, I roll with 5 starters and one reliever. My closer this year is Edwin Diaz. And I've had to streamline that 5th starter so far until Brandon Woodruff comes back from injury. But it went with Mitch Keller first, and he got banged up by the Yankees and kind of abandoned ship there. And so we've been rolling with Kumar Rocker since. So hopefully Rocker kind of continues his role. But yeah, that's a series I'm going to be tuned into. Eovaldi versus Gilbert on Sunday is must-watch TV. If you are a fan of pitching, which I am, I'm going to be tuned into that one. Yeah, Z, your boys in Boston obviously kind of came back down to earth a little bit after that series against St. Louis. That was, I mean, just kind of just a bludgeoning is the best way to put it. Yeah, offensively, man, what happened? Two runs Monday, 1 run yesterday, 1 run on Tuesday as well. Just that Red Sox offense has kind of come back down to earth. You figured that was going to happen. I actually have I want to put this game on. All right. I do have a strikeout prop on Chris Bassett going. He's got 2 strikeouts through 1 right now. So I need 4 more for that to hit. So I hope the Red Sox win, Z. I just hope that Chris Bassett hits his strikeout prop. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for there. I do want to touch on the Yankees series in honor of Chris. He's not with us here today, but hopefully he's enjoying some nice pizza in New York right now. But the Yankees had a tough series in Detroit going against the Tigers. Just crappy weather each day, Monday through Wednesday. It's cold as it is here. It was cold in Detroit. We had flurries in the air on Monday for that game, and just it didn't look like fun baseball weather. And you can kind of accredit that to why the offense, especially for the Yankees, but really both offenses didn't look the part in that series. But I guess it's notable with the Yankees because they've got the torpedo bats. They've been hitting all the long bombs. So it was kind of surprising for them to go quietly the way they did. 2 runs on Monday. They got shut out against Tarek Skubal on Tuesday, and then only mustered up 4 runs yesterday, but did get the win behind a strong outing from Max Fried. I mean, Mad Max was dialed yesterday. I think 7 strong, 11 strikeouts, no walks, 5 hits allowed. That was a vintage Mad Max performance. I hate that he's on the Yankees now because he was one of my favorite players to watch when he was on Atlanta, and I just have to hate watch the Yankees. It's what I do, so I can't root for him. But I guess I could root for Free to do well and the Yankees to lose, which is almost what happened yesterday. Devin Williams did not have a sharp 9th inning. Speaking of closing troubles, Clase obviously has had his, but Devin Williams hasn't been great for the Yankees so far. He did not look the part yesterday and couldn't get out of the 9th. It wasn't even a safe situation. It was 4-0 when he came into the game, and couldn't even close out the 9th. 2/3 of an outing, 2 hits allowed, 2 walks, 3 earned runs. Just not ideal from Williams. It looked like the Tigers were kind of keying in on that airbender changeup that he has, and then couldn't locate his fastball, consistently missing into lefties with his heater. And it'll be interesting to see if those struggles continue for him. And again, it's cold out. It's early on in the season. I don't put too much thought into these early season struggles, especially with relievers, but definitely something of note to see him struggle. Mark Leiter came in and got the one out save for the Yankees yesterday. But their bats are struggling. Judge is continuing to do his thing. He had 2 hits yesterday, drove in 2 runs. I think, he drove in another run on Monday. So he did his part in the series. Ben Rice also is doing his part. I know that's a guy Chris has been very high on, all throughout spring training. And so far early on in the season, he's got an OPS of over 1,000, I believe. Where are we? Yeah. Ben Rice, second on the Yankees in OPS behind only Aaron Judge with a 1.086 OPS, 306 average on the year. He's got 3 bombs in just 11 games. He's looking the part early on. He had the big home run yesterday to give the Yankees the early 2-0 lead. Judge with the 2-run single that ended up being the difference for them. But some other guys have started to cool off after some hot starts. Anthony Volpe being one of them. He was, really swinging the bat well. Those first couple of home series for them, even into Pittsburgh. But he struggled this past series. He went 0 for 3 yesterday. On Tuesday, he was 0 for 3. And then where did he go on Monday? Did he even have a hit Monday? No, 0 for 4. So 0 for 10 on the series for Volpe. That's a guy that I'm looking at, as a potential a guy that's due for some negative regression. Obviously, the torpedo bats, were all the rage 2 weeks ago. I think we're starting to see pitchers maybe begin to adjust, maybe not jam these guys as much, because that was the thing with Volpe, was that he was consistently getting jammed on the inner third. That's why they created the bat in the first place. It'll be interesting to see if Volpe can continue that early season production, or if we're going to see him fall off to kind of the norm for him, which, as much as Chris will hate to hear me say this, is a slightly below league average hitter so far in his career. That's not me being a hate watcher. That's just what he is. I mean, in his career, has he had a season with an OPS over 700? No, he hasn't. 666 and 657. So we'll see about Volpe. But the bigger surprise for me early on in this year is Cody Bellinger really struggling after he hit the home run the second game of the year during that bludgeoning of Nestor Cortez and Milwaukee's, 2 guys making their major league debut. But Bellinger was using the torpedo bat, and so that home run in game 2 was pretty eye-opening. But ever since then, I mean, he's off to a really bad start. 206 average. I mean, he's gone three for his last 21 at the plate over the team's last 5 games. I guess Chris has been telling me he's dealing with some sort of back tightness, and maybe that's what's causing the slump. But might be worth it to maybe give him a quick stint on the 10-day IL if he continues to struggle. 206 average, 562 OPS so far through 9 games. 7 hits on the year. Only one of them is an extra base hit. That was the home run. No doubles, no triples so far for Belly. And you can see that with these big time acquisitions for the Yankees. They tend to put a little more pressure on themselves than probably they should, at least early on, trying to do their thing in front of the Bronx faithful. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get back to his form, which the last 2 years was dynamite for the Cubs. I mean, kind of reinvented himself. He was really struggling after that 2020 season, in 2021 and 2022 with the Dodgers. I mean, both seasons OPS well below 700, a combined 29 home runs in those 2 years, and barely hitting over 200 in that time frame. Put it together the last 2 years with the Cubs, and now he's back to kind of that end of Dodgers tenure. Bellinger early on. Is the torpedo bat not working? Are pitchers figuring it out? That's something that we're going to have to, keep an eye on moving forward. But yeah, aside from him, Goldschmidt's been hitting the ball well for the Yankees. Jazz has kind of fallen into a slump. That was the other guy I wanted to touch upon. Again, he had the crazy start to the year too, hitting 4 home runs in those first couple series. But yeah, going back to the end of the Pittsburgh series. I mean, he went hitless in the Detroit series, but just 2 for 21 over his last 5 games. So those are, Jazz, Bellinger, and Volpe, 3 guys that made their presence known with those torpedo bats early on in that first series, are now struggling. Is it the cold weather? Is it pitchers kind of adjusting to, I guess, where to attack them given their new advantage with the torpedo bats? Or, is it just your early season slump? Are these guys gonna, go through the waves of, kind of going through what they are as professional hitters to this date? Or will the torpedo bats make a comeback? Who do the Yankees have this? Oh, they have the Giants. Yankees-Giants this weekend. I think Chris was telling me he's planning to go to the game on Saturday. I think his mom's got her award and everything tomorrow. Obviously, the Yankees are off today, so tomorrow, and then he flies home Sunday. So I think Saturday was the one day. I got to reach out to him to see if he's gotten tickets yet and where he's sitting. But Footy Yankee Stadium's garbage. I hate that place. I know I'm a Yankee hater, but I am a baseball lover and a baseball enthusiast. I love traveling to different ballparks. And maybe it's a little biased of my hatred, but I think Yankee Stadium is one of the worst stadiums in professional baseball to watch a game. I think Progressive Field, I know I'm biased, is 10 times better. Fenway, Camden Yards, Citizens Bank, Citi Field, all ballparks that I've been to that I think clear Yankee Stadium by a mile. Nationals Park is a decent one. PNC, another one that I've been to, clears Yankee Stadium by a mile. Some of the ones that I've been to that are kind of on par, I guess, are like US Cellular, where the White Sox play. I know that's not much to go off of. And then the Nationals Park, I think is decent too. But like Yankee Stadium, there's no feel to it, in my opinion. They should have never gotten rid of the old one. The old one had that nostalgia, that history feel to it. I don't know. I'm a big concession guy. I don't think there's good concessions at Yankee Stadium aside from the $20, $25 chicken tender and fry bucket. It's a cool bucket, but it's overpriced. But yeah, that's what the Yankees are up to this weekend. Chris isn't here. Stop talking about him. I know, Rome. I got to, I guess, carry his weight while he's not here. And give him props for talking about the Yankees. We're a Yankees and Guardians show. But yeah, hell yeah, Emily, with the little sweep for the Tribe. That was fun to watch. I'm excited. I really hope they carry this momentum into that Kansas City series. It should be decent pitching matchups. Tomorrow, the Indians, they'll go with Tanner Bybee, who's really looking for a bounce back start. He got roughed up against the Angels last Saturday. I didn't even watch too much of that game because that was the same night as the Final Fours, and was over at Buddy's. We were watching those. We were watching the Final Four games, so didn't really pay too much attention to Bybee. I watched the recap the next day, and they were just teeing off on him, which was so uncharacteristic of him. So hopefully, he responds nicely coming back home, pitching against a familiar foe in Kansas City, who he pitched well against his first start of the season. But he's going against a guy, Chris Bubic, who's been a pleasant surprise for Kansas City early on in the year. 2 games started, hasn't allowed a run in 12 2/3 innings, 16 punch outs for Bubic. But he's a left-hander, and the Guardians had one of the best records in baseball left-hander against lefties. So hopefully they can get to him tomorrow and keep the bats rolling like they were today. Saturday's pitching matchup, Michael Lorenzen versus Luis Ortiz. I thought Ortiz had a very promising start this past Sunday against the Angels. Didn't get the win, but pitched 6 innings, only allowed 3 runs. Pitched good enough to get a win. The offense was anemic on Sunday, though, so he was stuck with the loss. I'm excited to see – that's the game that I should be at, so I'm excited to see him pitch live. He's been a guy that I've been going through my ups and downs with him so far in spring training and early on in the season. At times, I think he just looks like he's a thrower and not a pitcher. And for me, when you're a starter, that's a little worrisome because I just don't know where your command is going to be on any given day. And so I hope that he's got good command and displays good command on Saturday against Kansas City, who a team he hasn't faced yet. He was going to make that start that opening weekend on Sunday, but Bybee with his food poisoning ended up shuffling the whole rotation. So excited to see what he does on Saturday, and then we'll go back to I think Ben Lively on Sunday. Yeah. So Lively against Reagans, a rematch of the 2 opening day starters. And if you were watching that game on stream, I was hammered by the end of it. So it'll be nice to watch that game and not be doing the 999 challenge, which I still haven't decided if I'm going to have a hot dog on Saturday yet, or I might have like a relapse and might throw up hot dogs from 2 weeks earlier. But I'm probably going to talk myself into getting a slider dog. Hell yeah, Big Christmas will definitely start versus the lefty tomorrow. And if his wrist is feeling good, I wouldn't mind seeing him back in the lineup. I know I kind of was anti-Lane earlier, but he did so well against lefties last year. If he's healthy, it'll be nice to see if maybe that is what gets him going. Otherwise, Nolan Jones in center has done pretty well so far in the last 2 games. But maybe we'll see a big Christmas home run this weekend. I'm waiting for that first one, that first majestic bomb of the year. Yeah, Z, as someone from New York, Yankee Stadium does suck, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, I grew up in Jersey, went to Yankee games, religiously because all my buddies were Yankee fans back home or are Yankee fans back home. So I've spent countless days at, Billy's and stands pregame and before Yankee Stadium, and I can't do it. It's not enjoyable for me. And maybe it is my deep-rooted hatred. And I know Z, you're a Red Sox fan, so you kind of agree with me on the hatred for the Yankees. So I don't know, just can't get into the ballpark there. I wish I could. Fenway's awesome. I need to go back to Fenway soon because I haven't been there in 3 years now. So I'm going to get back there. Got to try the new food and tell us about it. I do have to try the new food. They posted something on social media the other day, and I briefly watched it, but I forget what exactly the menu items were that were new this year. I am a sucker for good ballpark food, so if there are some intriguing items, I will for sure check them out. As much as it'll kill me to not get a slider dog, that might be smart considering I OD'd on hot dogs opening day. So maybe I will try some of the new food. I'll have to look. I'll have to look at the new menu to see what they have, but I'm always down for some fun concession stand items. And if anyone who's watching is in Cleveland this weekend for the game on Saturday, hit me up. I'll probably be at Thirsty Parrot. A couple of my buddies are coming up with me for the game. We'll be at Thirsty Parrot beforehand, partaking in some Cuyahoga River waters to get us all rowdy for the game. Wrigley, Emily, I have not been to Wrigley yet, and that is that's probably my number one on the bucket list right now for baseball stadiums. Everyone that's been there obviously raves about it. I know some people that live in Chicago that have done, they do this cool thing where you can rent out like the rooftops behind the stadium, behind like the left and right field bleachers. You can rent out the rooftop and watch the games from there. That I've heard is a fun time too. But I've been to Chicago a couple times now, have been in Wrigleyville. Wrigleyville's great. I just haven't been there during baseball season. So I need to get to a game. And yeah, the Buckeye game looked crazy there. Obviously I wasn't sure how it was going to play out. I know there was some concern with like the narrow space between the end of the end zone and the wall, but I mean, hey, Carnell Tate balled out, so we love to see that. Headed to Fenway for the Yankee series in June. I'll be home in June at some point, and I know my buddy has some sort of season ticket package with some of his friends for the Yankees. So there's a chance I'll be out there. I forget if it's for that Fenway or never mind. You're heading to Fenway. Don't mind me. I read that wrong. I need to get to Fenway. That's what I need to do. So maybe I'll make a point to get out there at some point this summer for I got to see when do the Tribe play when do we play Boston in Boston? Boston comes to Cleveland the end of this month, and then we are in Boston. It must be late in the year. Oh, it looks like potentially Memorial Day weekend or the beginning of September. I'm not sure when that lines up, but yeah, definitely want to make it out there. But yeah, guys, that's all I got. My little midweek recap. Looking forward to some good baseball this weekend. I'm excited to get to my first live baseball game of the season. Hopefully the Tribe can bring home a W. Hopefully we can continue this hot streak and win a series against the Kansas City Royals. And for all my other fan bases out there, I'll tell you, I'm definitely rooting for the Rangers over the Mariners this weekend. So Ben, go Rangers. Hopefully Kumar Rocker can lock it down for my fantasy team. And then, Z's got the Red Sox are playing the White Sox. All right. You guys will be, even if you do get swept by the Blue Jays here, you'll probably have a sweep on your hands in the Battle of the Sox showdown this weekend. But guys, thanks for kicking it with me. 300 people in here. Appreciate that. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get this, it's kind of been a slow build for us for this baseball channel, but we're here two times a week, maybe 3 moving forward. We'll see. But I think me and Chris were talking today actually about doing another live stream, not a 999 challenge live stream. That went, it was great, but oh boy. But yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure like and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Twitter, go ahead and retweet, share this video to all your other baseball fans. And while you're at it, go follow Painting Corners on YouTube. If you are watching on Twitter, get over, help us get some more subscribers, get this channel bumping. And yeah, that's all I got for us today. What is it? Strike 3, Painting Corners out.